Hey, what's up, collective? This is Neo Ra coming with another channel message from Spirit for you. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's tap in. Let's get this reading. See what message Spirit has for us now. Got this tribal deck. I really like this deck. I don't know what it's called. The arrow. Surround yourself with protective energy. The shield. Healing. That's interesting because before I started this reading, I was feeling an energy that was pretty dense being projected at the collective. I'm hearing wait and see. It's almost like playing chess and somebody moved and now they want to wait and see what you're going to do. Right? So that's where this surround yourself with protective energy comes from. And you're already protected. So this is not an opportunity to react to energies or to ignore them. Just to be aware that, and collective, you're not even playing. It's almost like somebody's playing a game and you're just watching them. They're playing against themselves, really. But they want to see what you're going to do and see if them moving their pieces around on the board will get you to interact and play with them. And the cycle that just closed out, a lot of people that didn't move forward are feeling like the same patterns are available and you've already cut those cords. On the bottom of the deck we have the eagle. Yeah, you're already up in the air flying, and people from the past projecting energy want to play with you. This says see from a higher perspective. So rather than react to any energies people project that you feel are not your energy and that you've already paid off all of your karmic debts in this lifetime, there's nothing to react to, right? And I'm hearing we can't be forced to play a game, right? And people can only interact with you at the level they're at if you play at their level. So you would have to lower your shield and go back to the old patterns even to interact with these people, which is not necessary. Let them learn the lessons they didn't choose to learn in the last cycle, or I'm even hearing for some people lifetimes, that they want people to keep interacting with them with their precious energy and valuable time and resources when they refuse to take accountability for basic lessons on earth, regardless of how many times it takes, right? And they want mercy. The heart guardian. They want mercy, right? But you've already ascended to a whole nother realm and you have healed your heart chakra. What does this say? Oh, love and let yourself be loved. Yeah, but not toxic karmic relationships where people just want to pull on your energy without even having the capacity to give back at a level that you are able to give, right? And when we don't settle in relationships, star ancestors on the bottom saying, follow the voice of your soul. When we don't settle for relationships, even though people may be projecting energy that sounds or feels like codependency or neediness, and we remember who we are, that we don't need another person or being or entity or substance or activity to feel whole and loved because we love ourselves. We need to find other people who love themselves. Courage. So I saw a video yesterday about the plant, and this exact image was what they were calling the plant in the book of Enoch. The chosen, the elect, the star seeds, the awakened beings who are living in the present moment, have the ability to grow and thrive and receive light from the sun and source regardless of the environment. This plant is growing with no dirt on top of rocks through a crack. And I'm hearing that this crack is a portal that many of us just transcended through to a higher state of being. The plant, aka the chosen, the star seeds. Let me get something else on this. We Are the World came out in reverse. We Are the World, which is the 10 of coins. So I'm getting not everyone is on this we are the world frequency. Some people are in their own bubble, ego, and that they are there. Some people don't even have a belief in a higher power or acknowledge that, right? But like gravity, just because you don't see it and maybe you don't believe in it doesn't mean it's not going to affect you. Gravity is affecting you. You don't have to believe in something for it to be a thing, regardless of the word you use to label it, right? Some people don't like the word God or creator or source, but if you are stuck in a pattern that you're not able to ascend, even having access to tools like spirituality and a system of belief that allows you to lead the best life and be on the highest timeline possible is common sense, even if you weren't raised with that, right? So some people I'm hearing have had this, they are not part of the world or the collective, they are just ego-based vessels or empty vessels. I'm hearing even nowadays, even just clones or, all of the different forms that we have walking on the earth are not of the divine, acknowledging and being in alignment with reality, right? The matrix is available for people who choose to, just like in the movie, the guy, he was out of the matrix, right? The guy who was the traitor on the ship, who got everybody set up, right? He knew the matrix wasn't real, but he chose to go back into a pod. Forget about selling everybody out. He chose to go back into a pod so that he could have the experience of being among the rich and wealthy and entitled, right? He wanted to live the life of royalty, even though he knew it was an illusion, right? And I think people who know that it's an illusion and choose to remain in it will be receiving their own judgment. And so as to not be affected by those people, 1039 on the timer, so as not to be affected, 10 being the wheel of fortune, and 39 being the 8 of cups, being able to walk away from those people and not just physically, but spiritually and energetically cutting cords, integration. This is 14. This is temperance in the traditional deck. Major arcana, integration, being able to integrate all of the lessons you've learned and ascend independently instead of codependent. Some people's feelings are going to be hurt. When they aren't able to tap into the higher frequencies that you radiate and emanate from your vessel, and are blessed, anyone in your environment who's connected to you receives that higher frequency or even a 0 point energy, clinging to the past on the bottom, 5 of cups, right? They're still anchored to earth, in it and not of it, right? They're still of the earth. They haven't ascended past the 3D, the physical. And it's not just a metaphor, it's a spiritual reality, right? So when we acknowledge spirit, just like gravity, we can respect the laws that it affects, right? When you step off of the curb of the sidewalk, you know gravity is going to pull you down to the next level. And people who haven't learned lessons about earthly attachments, addictions, praising, money, 1242 on the timer, false idols, worshiping that which is not aligned with the Most High and your highest timeline, whatever we focus on, we manifest. So if you're committed to beliefs and patterns that are of low frequencies, and you focus and spend your time on that, not you collective, but those who are projecting into the energy of the collective, looking for mercy and help and still being in codependent timeline cycles, right? Those are closed off to the collective, is on a different timeline. So the split has occurred. And for many people in the collective of the divine who are aligned, you are already in the flow state. You're going with the flow. Ace of water, Ace of cups, right? You have new beginnings available. You see possibilities in the future. You have access to all of your abilities. With more coming online, 1404 on the timer. Temperance, the balanced path, walking on the balanced path gives you a 0 point or a neutrality where everything is possible. Anything is possible. You have free will and you have discernment to manifest whatever's in your best interest, whatever you wish to experience. And that's not available to people who are in the matrix. They are stuck in, I'm hearing, whatever the moon frequency projects at them while they subconsciously sleep, while they watch programming and listen to music of low frequencies, and they don't have a choice, right? And they had a little bit of a choice when they were in your frequency field, right? And now they're being blocked. So this is less of a to-do and more of an effect that's being felt by people. They're feeling a boundary, not because you put one up, but because they don't have access to the frequency that you operate in, 1524, right? That devil card, that being bound to the earthly realms. When you've ascended, you automatically are shielded, right? And your heart is now healing. And if you so choose to interact and relate and create relationships or start new relationships, Ace of Cups, that the work you've done will attract, look at all these high frequencies, you will attract another balanced being. And some of us haven't ever had that experience in family, friends, or relationships where people are doing the healing, they're walking on their path, they're not lost, right? They're not codependent, they're not narcissistic, they're not energy vampires harvesting your energy, and you wondering why things are never coming to completion is what I'm hearing, right? You're never able to finish what you start when you're constantly emptying your cup into everyone else's cup, the Temperance card. When you're always filling everybody's cup up around you, or they're plugged into you like I'm hearing like a portable battery hub, right? Of the divine, the chosen ones. When you wake up to that and you unplug everybody like the Matrix and you're independent, you're looking down from a different perspective, a different point of view. You've gone through this portal, right? That's pretty exciting. That's a lot of work. I want to congratulate you in this new cycle and wish you the best. 1728 on the timer. You're a star. You have mastered the water elements, and your heart is healed, and you are a pure vessel, and you are able to channel higher frequencies and receive messages from source and your spirit guides and your ancestors, and the Most High Creator is able to utilize you to be an example for what's possible when people do the work. Life can be, I'm hearing, heaven on earth, of the heavenly realms, of the divine. The water is pure. You've alchemized your internal water. Your mind is clear. You're able to grow in any environment. And you choose who you share your energy with. And if people aren't aligned with the frequencies that you are operating on now, you have a choice, and you're going to choose to allow them to do the work before you, if ever, have any kind of interactions with those lower frequencies. Nine of Cups, laziness. They might look at you like this, but they don't know how much work it takes to get to this frequency. To be able to sit back and relax and go with the flow, it doesn't mean you don't do any work. It means you've done enough work that it occurs to people who are struggling like you're being lazy, but you're not being lazy. Life is effortless when you go with it, just like gravity. When you know what gravity is and you work with it, you're able to use gravity to fly, right? You're not trapped. So this can be I'm hearing an earlier video I did. This can be a prison if you don't want to follow the rules and you don't want to learn the rules and you act like there aren't any rules. Then you don't get to experience the actual 2007 on the timer judgment. You don't get to experience this. I didn't even see that card underneath it. You don't get to experience this level of freedom without doing a lot of work. And it might be you've been doing work for lifetimes, right? You might have been doing work for lifetimes. This was underneath this card, the Five of Wands, right? Because like I said, this takes a lot of work. And people will argue and potentially talk behind your back that you didn't do the work. Maybe they don't trust you because they don't think you're doing what they're doing, but they're not aligned with gravity even. They don't even believe in gravity. If they can't see it and it's not doing something for them, they don't believe in it. That's the 3D, right? They don't have access to the spirit world, right? Maybe they believe in scary movies. What Hollywood tells us is to get you to not delve into the spirit world because it's scary. Not like your ancestors aren't there trying to help you the whole time. 2144 on the timer, right? It's not something to fear or be worried about, but that's part of the Matrix. The Matrix doesn't want you, I'm seeing this death card. The Matrix doesn't want you to have an ego death. And the Matrix wants you to go through life afraid of death, because when you're on a lower frequency in fear, you're hopeless. I just saw something pop up on my phone. It looked like hopeless. This is like a hopeless lesson for people who fear it. And the Matrix teaches you to fear death and gives you a lot of misinformation. 2222 on the timer. A lot of misinformation about what death even is. You can choose to have an ego death and then build yourself back up from the ground up with a sturdy foundation in a light frequency and not in the fear-based moon false light, okay? In this lifetime, you don't have to wait until the physical death to come back and start all over. 2313 on the timer. So I'm going to end it there. Let me just get one of these key cards. That's such a heavy energy to end it on. A lot of you already know this, and for any cross watchers, you know, this may be reactivating to hear. The ego doesn't want to hear that it's not the end all be all. Right. Having ego death is releasing your soul. It's not a fear activity. It might be that the dark night of the soul, when you actually have to face your shadow side and see what's in your subconscious that's working against you and tame it, right? And have an integration of your light and your dark elements so that you're whole, because whatever has form casts a shadow in the light. So your shadow is your shadow, even though in the collective everybody acts like, you know, whatever their problem is everybody's problem. And then they walk around projecting that. And I think that's the energy that we started with. The shield, right? You're not even at the affect of beings who lifetime after lifetime, you know, or maybe they even figured out how to cheat death, right? They've been here in different forms for many of our lifetimes. And they don't want to have a experience of freedom. I'm getting a stuttering. It's like they can't even fathom, they can't even language being able to face this. So they figured out how to cheat this naturally occurring thing that they can have an ego death in one lifetime or multiple ego deaths and keep leveling up in one lifetime. And when you get to the end of the physical life, just transcend, pass through the veil into the next life, release your soul, and not be trapped in a lifetime of fear. That's not living, that's dying the whole time. I'm seeing somebody standing on a 30-meter diving platform in front of a pool, and it's their turn to step off and jump, and they stay there the whole time until the pool closes and they have to go back down the stairs. That's some people's life. They wait the whole time to have fun experiences. They're too afraid to actually experience gravity from 30 meters, right? They haven't learned to fly, so they know they're going to fall in the water, right? And they're afraid of dying, so they don't even live. Can you imagine going lifetime after lifetime, lifetime after lifetime, and you don't actually experience living? I'm going to leave it on that. Thanks for joining me, collective. Peace and love, and have a beautiful day. Thank you.